For a reason not even I, the guy with the question and answer show, can figure out, people are really obsessed with the end of the world. Anything that has to do with a catastrophic earth-shattering event, whether it be an ancient calendar ending, a virus that destroys every computer from the inside, or a disease that decomposes the flesh of millions, is fit for conspiracy theorists and general public alike. So what's the most likely way the world as we know it will end? Well, honestly, who cares? Let's face facts. When we as a human race are long gone, the Earth will still be here, and it will keep on dishing out life in the same way it always has. Maybe once reptiles and mammals have had their share of the Earth pie, we'll start seeing colonies of fish people. So for those of you who are expecting my explanation on the various ways we or that giant asteroid the size of Texas are going to brutally end our days, this video is not for you. But if you like seeing how not just a planet, a star, or even a whole galaxy, but the universe itself will end as we know it, then stick around. There are plenty of theories on how we'll think it'll all come to an end. In order to figure out just how our good friend the universe will meet its demise, we first need to understand the theory of critical density. Critical density was developed by Albert Einstein and George Lemaitre using Einstein's theory of relativity, which includes this equation if you didn't know. This theory covers a lot of ground explaining how the universe works on a fundamental level. One of these fundamental laws is that the universe is expanding, and that expansion is constantly accelerating. We don't quite know how or why this is, but researchers believe it has something to do with dark energy, which is something that takes up an astonishing 63% of the universe's mass. It can't be detected by any means we currently have, but we know it's out there pulling at every piece of the universe. And as it turns out, dark energy is the key behind the critical density theory. The amount of this dark stuff in the universe will help us figure out exactly how the universe will end, but since we don't know that, we'll have to look at every possible outcome, so let's start with the three most probable. The first of these demise scenarios is the Big Crunch. If critical density, keep in mind that's the amount of dark energy pulling at the universe, is greater than 1, then the universe will expand to a maximum size. When it does, it will begin to shrink back, closing in on itself, until we experience a reverse Big Bang, in which everything in the universe closes to a single point in space. In this scenario, we have a closed universe where time begins, goes on for a while, and then tragically ends. A stranger version of the Big Crunch is the Big Bounce, in which the universe experiences a big crunch, but that point becomes the trigger for another Big Bang, and so the cycle continues. The next probable way the universe will bite the dust is the Big Freeze. In this scenario, critical density is exactly 1, where the universe expands to a certain point and stays there. However, this end is just as frightening as the Big Crunch. A part of the expansion of the universe is that everything that occupies it, yes, even planets, moons, stars, your X, and galaxies, are all slowly drifting apart. As they do, the space between them grows larger. So eventually, when the stars die and planets go barren, the gravity that normally would pull things together would not be able to get a hold on anything. Once everything in the universe dies, the overall temperature will reach absolute zero, resulting in an open universe, where time only sort of ends. This is because while everything has died, everything still exists, but in a strange limbo of black holes and sheer emptiness. The final theory of the three scenarios is also a big freeze, but the way it occurs is slightly different. In this apocalypse, the universe expands infinitely and never stops. Like the first big freeze, everything dies and moves apart to create absolute zero, but this time the expansion of the universe slows down, but never quite stops, and so the universe can expand infinitely without having to be constrained by those pesky space-time borders. In this flat universe, space expands infinitely for an infinite amount of time, causing time to never end. Chillingly, this is the theory that scientists believe will be the most likely to occur. But we can't stop there, of course. In a potentially infinite universe where everything is possible, we can't quite rule out some of the stranger ways the universe could meet its untimely demise. The first of these is not quite an end or a beginning. In fact, it's an eternal universe scenario. The universe never began and never will end, which is scary in and of itself. Fortunately, because of the very striking evidence for the Big Bang, this is probably not the case. Let's move on to something a little more bizarre, the Big Rip. In this scenario, we assume that the universe is and has always been somehow unstable. So as dark energy causes the universe to expand, the speed at which it expands grows exponentially, meaning every second of the expansion covers more space than the last. Like the seams on a fat guy with sweatpants, the universe can't take any more expansion and at last rips apart, destroying itself from the biggest galaxies to the smallest particles in a cataclysm of epic proportions. The last theory on the death of the universe is definitely the strangest. In the Big Slurp, or the vacuum metastability event if you're not as fun with naming your interstellar catastrophes, the universe is potentially unstable like the Big Rip scenario. This time, however, a bubble forms in the fabric of space-time. You could consider this to be a bubble to another parallel universe, but to be more accurate, the bubble contains a space where the laws of physics had changed entirely due to the instability of the universe. And of course, because dark energy just loves to tug at things, this bubble expands to swallow up everything. Depending on how the laws of physics have changed in the bubble, everything within could be destroyed, or just change slightly and life might even continue to exist. But that's just up for speculation. So if you haven't started hiding under your bed waiting for the universe to either rip apart or freeze, or compress to a singularity or get destroyed from physics breaking, rest assured that the time of the demise of our livable universe is very far off. Scientists estimate that time could be anywhere from 9 billion to 22 trillion years in the future. So assuming we don't blow ourselves up and can get away from the sun before it dies, we can expect a bright future indeed. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you have any questions you want me to answer, leave it in the comments or email me at stuffyou'veprobablywondered@gmail.com. Also in the comments, share your thoughts on the end of the universe. Which one do you think is the most likely? Are there any other possibilities you've heard of or can think of? Either way, I'll see you next time on Stuff You've Probably Wondered.